Hey, ladies and gents, welcome back to Chaos TV's live coverage here of the Elite of Europe tournament. This is the grand finals, $4,000 up for grabs, and it's about time that we get it on here in game number two. Mouse are currently 1-0 up, fairly close end, really exciting end, it should be said. It was a base race, and Mouse did get the upper hand. They had a Fed Graves and a Jax just pummeling down the Nexus towers, and unfortunately, Corki and Soraka from Curse.eu could not match that kind of damage output. So Mouse did end up taking it home, and now you find yourself right at the birth of game two. I'm Metis, and I'm joined by the wonderful Pulse. Say hello, Pulse.
Good morning.
Oh, I see what you did there. Very smart. It actually is morning nearly, I
It is,
think.
yeah.
It is morning, yeah. There you go. So actually, you weren't being sarcastic. I thought you
No.
were. I take that back, dude. I apologise.
Yeah, damn straight. It is
So
literally just turned.
yeah, it has actually. So we're going to be having lots and lots of action, lots of pings actually as well from Curse towards Blue. I fear a bit for Slepper. Slepper is going to get flash frosted from Anivia. Will we see any follow-up though? This is what I was talking about, making sure you don't spend your ability points too soon. First from Slapper, and that's what kept him alive. A lot of players, lower elo, will be taking Phosphorus Bomb first. In that case, he'd have died. It's that simple. Taking Valkyrie in that split decision saved Slapper's life.
Yeah, not only that, he saved his flash, so he's going to be absolutely fine in lane. There's not going to be extra pressure exerted on him from Candy Panna and Nex. Definitely what would have happened if they didn't have the Summer Spell, because he doesn't have the escape basically, and that is huge this early on in the game. So both players will be starting up at their blue buffs, it looks like, and obviously they need it. They are kind of mana dependent. Malino on Malphite, and of course Dedrion on that Trundle. And it's been a long time, and considering they banned out pretty much all of the support junglers, all the ganking junglers, this is kind of what they had to go for. They went for the scraps, but by no means is Malphite scraps, and Trundle, I'm waiting for good things from this guy.
I think Trundle is really underestimated, to be honest. I love Trundle. I think he's a great champion. Personally, can I play him? No, I suck balls with Trundle, but I love to watch him play. He's such a strong character. So Malphite and Trundle both bring a lot to the table. Obviously, the Pillar of Filth from Trundle is going to be able to set up ganks. Malphite, until level 6, he's got the Seismic Shard. It's not great CC. It does cause a slow. Of course, with the red buff as well, you can slow even further still. But it's going to be 6. Unstoppable Force on Malphite will be setting up those kills. And we saw one of the best Dragon Steals for a long time I've witnessed from Maluno in the previous game that we casted with Curse.eu. So against TSM that was, wasn't it? Where he went in Drake, actually stole Drake, and also set up a team fight that they ended up acing. So Maluno on Malphite is strong, strong stuff.
That being said, Dedrion stole that Baron last game, so equally as impressive. And you definitely can't take that away from these guys. Definitely the junglers are the MVPs of each team. I'm just waiting to see what they can pull off this game. Dedrion going to be probably ganking more than Maluno early on, obviously because he is Trundle. He does get his CC earlier on, probably at level 4 when he can afford it, so he doesn't give his clear too much. And then Malphite will be more at that level 6 when he does have that ultimate for the massive CC and follow up from his lanes, because so far he doesn't really have much CC to go up on. There's Equilibrium Strike, but that's only positional, situational. Mid is the charm, but it's very difficult to land if you didn't have a CC before. Bottom lane's got no CC of its own, so he kind of needs to wait till 6, whereas Trundle doesn't. He has more CC all around the board, actually.
A couple of people, in fact, hold that thought for a second, so we're going to have some action at top lane. Here comes Maluno from the side. Seismic Shard has been pulled off. Counter-strike from Prothana, flashing in, trying to stun Malphite. Is there going to be enough time for him to get away? Equilibrium Strike has been used. So close from Prothana. The Seismic Shard will just finish off Jax. I can't help but feel that red buff had something to do with that as well. That's going to be first blood to Maluno. And some people messaged me and they're saying, no, you're wrong. It wasn't Drake, it was Baron. No, that was Dedrion last game against Mouse. I'm talking about Maluno's Drake steal against TSM earlier on was really, really special. So I think you're right. MVP for both these teams thus far, in my opinion, has been their junglers.
Yeah, our memories haven't completely died just yet, guys.
Not that bad. I would remember something as special as Maluno's Drake steal against TSM. That was really good play from him.
It's one of those things that just sticks in your mind. So definitely those junglers just don't work for those teams. Boma right now just needs to be farming. When he hits 6, he needs to be pushing out that lane as hard as possible, kind of preventing Ari from ganking, and that's what he needs right now. Because if they can prevent Ari from ganking, then they're going to relieve a lot of pressure off of those lanes, and that also means that Trundle's got more pressure as well. Then again, Malphite is really good at setting ganks, so we'll see how it goes when we get later into this game.
Well, here comes Dedrin from the side. We are going to have a counter gank now. Let's say whatever you can do, we can do just as well. Unfortunately, that would be incorrect because Anguish has managed to survive. Pillar of Filth doesn't appear to be as strong in that circumstance, in that situation, as a Seismic Shard. But could be take two. There is no ward down there from Anguish. He has no clue, maybe suspicion that Dedrin is still lurking around. This creep wave is going to push. Here we come with the counter strike, and also the contaminate. The ignite's been popped as well. The Pillar of Filth was really well placed, but is it going to be enough? Because here comes Maluno and the equilibrium strike, and suddenly we're going to have a counter attack in the form of Maluno taking charge, firing off the seismic shard. Do we see enough damage coming out here? Also, the ground slam was popped off, but both top laners are going to manage to survive with Dedrion going back to spawn. But it's all again about these two junglers. I am having such a good time watching them play.
Yeah, I can't help but thinking if he waited for an extra 2 seconds, he might have picked up that kill, because the wave was pushing anyway. But Luna looking to push top tower really aggressively with a massive minion wave kind of makes sense, forcing Perfana to kind of sit behind his turret, actually going to turn around and get the kill to Angus. Wow, 2 versus 1 situation. Knew he had the advantage with the turret and turned that one around. That was insane.
Well, I felt Anguish's pain now, I'll be honest. I don't think he's expecting that. Here comes Ari from the side though. Orb Deception and the Ignite as well. Is it going to be enough damage? A couple of auto attacks thrown in for good measure. And he's going to be able to survive on 6 HP. 6 HP. In the meantime, Dedrian will be going to Maluno and Extinct. And we do have Moma coming around the side. If that wall lands, it could set up 2 kills. Will it land? Not quite. It is going to separate Maluno though. He's now going to be chasing after him. Seismic Shard has been used. Here comes the Contaminate from Trundle in hot pursuit of Maluno. He doesn't have much mana to play with, but neither does Moma. Beautiful Pillar of Wall used, but the charm comes out from Extinct. Lots of damage. And you have to say that these two teams are on top of their game right now. It's just backwards and forwards. 2 kills have gone down. On another day, it could have easily been 6 or 7.
Yeah.
The Pillar of Wall. There you go. That's how badass I am. Who cares about the Nivril Wall or the Pillar of Filth? It's the Pillar Wall now. Yorkie Pillar of Wall. It's all good.
Yeah. We've invented a new champion, guys. So Yorkie's W skill is Pillar of Wall. There we go. Just need to invent the others now.
Oh, Jesus. This is one of those days, isn't it?
Anyway, I didn't quite realize at the start, but they have 2 terrain skills. They have the Crystallize and they have the Pillar of Filth, which is kind of insane. They can create a almost battlefield for them to like fight in. So when it comes to team fights, they can block off all of the scary people like the AD and AP carries, and then just fight who they want to fight. It can obviously backfire, but that could be very interesting in these team fights, just splitting up so it goes to their advantage. Of course, they can McLaren wall themselves in, but you know.
They could McLaren wall themselves in and get dunked off the rude dude, so that's definitely a potential possibility, but Prothana is going to go back. I don't even think that maybe 10 people got that reference, but if you did, then thumbs up to you. Either way, you are going to have Prothana and Anguish facing off against each other. Anguish doesn't have too much mana, so can't afford to be too aggressive for too long. But we are just kind of coining phrases all night long. It's not intentional, but if they stick, then they stick. Either way, someone in chat did say, and I'm fully agreeing with you on this point, this game is shaping up to be much more entertaining than the TSM Moscow 5 games. Look at game number 1 with the base rate. Look at game number 2 already. We've had so much action. Even only 2 kills have gone down. As I said before, there's been so many opportunities for both teams. They're just so good.
I feel they deserve more respect from the community because everyone was like TSM, and it was like Moscow 5, Moscow 5. But Curse.eu and Mouse are incredibly good teams. I think they honestly deserve more respect because look at this game. As you said, far more exciting, more skill involved, just everything was clean. And look at it, this is the finals. It's not even the consolation finals, so they deserve to be here and they've shown how good they are. So hopefully after today, people actually give these 2 teams the respect that they deserve because they are among the best.
Definitely. We are going to have the 2 top laners going head-to-head once again. They're just so aggressive. And when you get 2 explosive top laners face off against each other, the result is Anguish versus Prothana, Jax against Irelia. Lots and lots of pings going down towards Drake. And there are 2 wards down there, 1 for either team. Having said that, purple team's ward will run out before blue teams. So keep that in mind. It could definitely factor into what happens in the next 2 to 3 minutes. Either way, Slepper and Clarissa do have some support in the form of Maluno, who's hiding in the bush, but is he going to pounce? He does have his ultimate off cooldown. There is definitely possibility for a gank here. The question is, are Dax and Candy Panda going to bunch up and both get hit by this? In the meantime, at top lane, again, we are going to have some more action potentially from Dedrion. So both junglers trying to make something happen for their team. But thus far, it's a real tease fest. The creeps are going to be pushing. This is going to give Maluno some hope. There's been a mark onto Dax. He has been targeted. Here we go to Candy Panda. Just do something, Maluno. I can't take it anymore. In the meantime, at top lane, we're going to have some action, so I'll quickly switch towards bot lane. They both kick off at the exact same time. So I'm going to keep it with top because Anguish is getting chased down. Could be a tower dive. Ignite has been used. Transcendent Blades as well. Anguish will be falling right now. Okay, let's go to bot. And we'll see Janna getting dropped from Corki. So a bit of an anticlimax at the end. Trundle takes down Irelia. Corki onto Janna. And talk about timing, Paul. So we had a gank at top at the exact same millisecond as a gank at bot.
But look how close this is. There's practically nothing in it, and both teams scale really well into the mid game. Proc carry on both teams, and the AP carry on both teams. They don't have double AP either on both teams, so it's just incredibly even. Incredibly even. Both teams have the exact same scaling into the exact same phases of the game. Is absolutely incredible. The reason they targeted Dax in that gank was very clever because they knew he would have the capability to CC them out with his Monsoon. So if they target him, then actually meanwhile mid.
In mid we are going to have some action on towards Moma. Loads and loads. Is there going to be popped? Yes it is. But I don't think they have the follow-up damage because here comes Dedrion, right place at right time. Surprise, surprise, both junglers have been doing this all day long and doing enough pressure to ensure that Momo will respawn safely out of the egg. Now Extinct needs to be careful because on very, very low health. But with Maluno standing, that is going to be fine. So again, only 4 kills. Could have been so much more on a different day.
Definitely, and Clarissa's going to meet Dax and is going to bump head for a little while. And Perfana at top, how are they doing on CS-wise? It's 79 against 67, so advantage clearly in Jax's favour, though it is a minion wave there and they're just bumping heads once again, but no one can really outright win because they're so tanky at this stage. Jax would probably win the fight, but I really would have the capability to just run away with Equilibrium Strike to follow. So Maluno, actually both junglers going top again.
I swear man, they can read each other's minds. They're like twins or something, separated at birth. You can almost guarantee, when you see one of these junglers push up towards top or bottom, the other jungler's doing the exact same thing, or the complete opposite. So, for example, if Dedrion's going top, you can guarantee Maluno's going bottom, but they're always going to be close contention with the ganks. A ward did come down from Anguish into top lane, and Dedrion did pick up the destruction onto that very quickly. Maluno hasn't been spotted yet, so Dedrion is going to go back to double golems, or the Stoner brothers, and Maluno is going to start to push back towards his blue. Yeah, nothing's going to happen. Both junglers, I think, realising the opportunity wasn't there, and Maluno is going to give Extinct this blue.
Oh man, that video. Okay, so Extinct will be taking up that blue for himself, and he will get the roam capability, and if he's actually looking for a gank at bottom, I think the ward's just seen him, however, and they will be trying to retreat out of here. Yeah, Valkyrie goes down, and Momo's realised. They probably might try and counter ward that at some point, because they now know there's a ward right there, and they know exactly how to respond to that situation, especially with 14 minutes of the game. Drake has not yet been taken. I would be very surprised if we didn't see some counter warding very soon, just to poise and get ready for that Drake fight, which will happen fairly soon.
Yeah, just kind of some harassment between the two AD carries, nothing to really write home about. Kind of Candy Panda just spamming onto Soraka. In the meantime, Slapper was firing off his missile barrage onto Dax. So, in this exchange, if it keeps going that way, kind of tit for tat, then yeah, we are going to have probably Soraka going ahead. In the meantime, Ari is going to tower dive top onto Jax. So, 3-2. And now Anguish is going to be given free reign to farm or take down the tower, whatever comes first. But nice play from Mouth. Even though they did lose Prathana, instantly they're going to go for the Drake because they realise that Ari is at top. Look at that wall, actually, from Anivia. Completely closing off Slapper. And then being able to actually pick up the Drake afterwards. So that's a nice exchange. Sure, Prathana died. Sure, the tower went down the bot, but they managed to pick up that Drake. We could be seeing Slapper dropping here, though. Ignite and Exhaust was popped on. Having said that, they're going to be chasing Candy Panda very, very quickly, but he'll be fine going back towards his tower.
Yes, are pushing top very aggressively. Trundle's on his way along with Jack. I think they realise they've been up there for a bit too long and they will be forced back off. So they were trying to punish as hard as possible because they knew 5 people at bottom, but they just got up there a bit too quickly. And obviously that Janna's Tailwind going to help them a little bit as well to get up there just in time, stop them from doing any damage from that tier 2 turret.
Yeah, Prathana is being pushed back once again from that combination of Anguish and Extinct. Trundle, in the meantime, is going to be taking down the red buff, and Anivia on Wraiths. So Aurelia is going to be recalling. Extinct, in the meantime, will be moving back down towards mid lane. While we have a bit of a lull in the action, let's have a look at some of these items that have built up. So you've got Catalyst the Protector and Tear of the Goddess on Anivia, plus 1,260 gold to spend. Will Anivia be recalling? The answer is a yes, so I'll keep an eye on what they're going to be completing on the side of Mouse. In the meantime, Ari does have 2 Doran's Rings. We're going to have some action at bot lane. Ezreal flashing up red. Trundle en route down there. Anivia did finish off the Mercury Treads. And Dedron just hiding in the bushes, waiting for that right moment to pounce. But don't think he's going to bother because both Candy Panda and Dax were thinking for a moment of recalling. Ezreal's going to True Shot Barrage right down the middle. Maybe was trying to bait out some kind of attack from Slepper, and it has been successful. Here comes Dedron from the side. Will he land the Pillar of Filth? Yes, he will. Beautiful play from him. But do they have enough damage to follow up on? Because Candy Panda doesn't have a lot of mana. Here comes the Pain Train full on its tracks from Malphite, and Moluno crushes Ezreal in a heartbeat. They aren't going to be able to get the kill onto Corki afterwards, though. Seismic Shard from Moluno and the Flash as well. Ground Slam should be coming up very shortly. There we go. The red buff should be finishing off Dedron. Yes, it will. So, again, jungler and jungler moving together in unison to provide some awesome League of Legends entertainment. 5-3, and this time around Curse.eu are ahead.
Very, very interesting. Corki's capitalizing on that mid game. Very interesting. Irea's gone for double gold per 5. Kind of like he wants to scale into that late game, but we actually saw him do that on Shyvana as well. He always favours that double gold per 5 build, even at top lane. Very interesting, no matter what character he plays. So, well, interesting, but they are definitely ahead on this one. I can't help but feel that that gold per 5 item will put them slightly far behind. But not too far behind, because obviously that AP carry and the AD carry with that Trinity Force will make up for it. And obviously he is trying to dive on those AD carries, and those go for 5 items will give him some more sustainability.
So Ari's going to be building towards the Abyssal Scepter. She has the Negatron Cloak and the Blasting Wand. On top of that, Cage's lucky pick. Anivia is going back to spawn once again, has 1,200 gold to spend. That is enough for a Blasting Wand and a Sight Ward. Bot lane going to have some more aggression from Slapper onto Ezreal. Landing a Missile Barrage and a Gatling Gun before that. Really just spamming at home there, Slapper. Landing everything so far, and the big one too. So doing a nice job with the harassment. How's the CS looking? I haven't really checked it so far. 144 to Ezreal, Corki 153. So not a massive difference between the two, but Corki does have a kill and also one more assist than Ezreal does. In the meantime, some marks are going down onto Extinct. That Pillar of Filth was absolutely precision placement. Did manage to slow Extinct down for a long enough period of time, but firing up the charm did land onto Moma, and that's going to completely relieve some of the pressure that could have came in. Flash Force will land onto Extinct, even though he moved to his left-hand side. So really smart play from Moma. But again, it's not enough damage. Anivia at the moment, she's scary, but she's not going to burst you down in an instant. Jax is taking a lot of damage at top lane. In fact, is going to be finished off courtesy of the gank from Malphite, who popped his ultimate in the process. And will be picking up the kill to take a rampage 4-0-2. We called it earlier, Moluno and Malphite too strong.
Yeah, and it's only going to get worse of them, and it's amazing. This could go into a third game. Is it best of 3 or best of 5? Do we know? Because it was changed around a couple times.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be a BO3 because of the time.
Right, gotcha. So yeah, this could definitely go into a third game because Curse in great form at the moment, and they are definitely winning pretty hard right now. Jax has his build towards Cutlass and got the Phage, going to be building into that Trinity Force. So yeah, they're in a good position right now, but that's the same on both teams. They're not down and out. They're only 2.8k behind. It's not an awful amount, and they can definitely come back into this.
I'm a firm believer that the kill stat doesn't really matter a great deal to me. I'm more interested in the gold. So in that case, you know, you've got... Well, in fact, hold that thought for a second, because here comes Ari diving across that tower. Prathana and Dedra are going to be close. That's such a good Pillar of Filth. alongside the counter-strike from Jax, jumping back on towards Anguish again. The egg was popped, but they're not going to be able to capitalise on that. Here comes a True Shot Barrage from Ezreal, and Moment will be respawning from the egg, taking the rebirth. So what time was Dragon killed at? Let me have a quick check at the exact time. It was 14:34. It's going to be up very, very shortly. So will Moma maneuver themselves into position alongside his teammates of Mouse? More than likely going to be the case. Ezreal and also Janna looking to push Slepper fairly heavily in the lane, maybe in that preparation for Drake spawning. Having said that though, Jax is going back up towards top lane and Trundle's taking red, so they're not going to mobilise for it just yet.
I'm not entirely sure on build so far because, okay, Anguish really likes the double gold per 5. However, Curse has a great mid game. I think they need to capitalize on it because Mouse have a really, really nice late game because they have all that control. They have the Pillar of Filth, they have Crystallized, they have the ultimate from Dax and the CC. They have a lot of control in teamfights. They can control the flow of teamfight. And Curse actually going to go straight onto this Drake, so as I'm saying it, they are pushing their advantage, being all over Mouse right now. However, Mouse, if they stall it, will have the greater endgame. But it's whether they can get there is the issue.
What really surprises me is that Mouse took the first dragon, so they should have had timing. And they didn't seem interested in Drake whatsoever. Like, Jax to top lane, they had a couple recalls, they weren't in position, they had no ward coverage down. So I'm a bit confused, because Mouse did take the dragon beforehand, so you just assume they had the timing down. Like, precisely.
I don't think they wanted to contest, in all honesty. I think they recognised that they're weaker, and if they wait out until a bit later into the mid-game, then they can probably pull through with that control, as I was just talking about with the team fight. But at the moment, Ori, Maluno, massive burst damage, along with Anguish, they have a very, very strong mid-game, and I think they just feel that they're weaker than them right now.
It's a very good point, actually. When you put it like that, it makes perfect sense. So you just think it's a case that it's like, okay, we know Drake's going to respawn, but there's no point potentially getting aced and going even further behind.
Yeah. I think that's how it went down.
Fair enough.
Kind of interesting from Anguish, actually. Maybe they've recognised that Miles are going to try and store, and if they do, in that eventuality, then they need gold for late game to try and keep themselves in it. So in that sense, it was clever. But on the flip side, I still feel they should be pushing the advantage. Yes, they got on Drake, but they need to be forcing team fights, seeding it for it. And at the moment, it looks like it will go into late game.
Yeah, I think this has late game written all over it, to be honest. Some of the items that are getting built up around Rod of Ages onto Anivia. You have Ari on the Abyssal Scepter with 1,400 gold to spend when he goes back. Some pings down in the jungle obviously have spotted themselves a couple players moving through. They know that a gank is coming towards this lane. Ezreal just popped his ultimate. And that nice Flash Frost landed from Anivia onto Anguish. Is it going to be enough? Beautiful Pillar of Filth and the wall from Anivia. There is nowhere for Anguish to escape to, and he's going to be going down very, very quickly. Wow. Them blocks so strong, and Anguish just simply didn't have a chance. 0 for 4, but does have the Trinity Force. In a nutshell, that's why you pick a Trundle alongside Anivia. You can just block off everything.
So much control. So much control. It's insane. Actually, the initiator on bottom.
Yeah, they are going to initiate on bottom, but it looks to me that they're just going to be pushing themselves back as the tower's still going to be doing a fair amount of damage till Anivia comes through with the wall. Nice wall there onto Maluno and the Pillar of Filth, but he's just able to walk on through. In the meantime, Extinct is going to put down a lot of pressure with the Orb of Deception. Here we go with Jax jumping in, does manage to stun 2 or 3 players. Is it going to be enough though? Dedrun taking too much damage, having to push himself back. I'm not too sure about Prothana pushing too much further ahead. That's why he's decided to leap straight back, but we are going to have a beautiful flash in with Corki picking up the kill, even though the Monsoon came out as well. It wasn't enough to save Prothana. I think Prothana was a bit too aggressive on that occasion, not realising the rest of his team were on very, very low HP and couldn't really back him up.
Yeah, Curse took that one pretty comfortably, and now they're going to seize that turret. Will they take the next one? I'm not so sure. They might back off, sweep the jungle, maybe try and take mid as well. I think that inhibitor turret's a bit too deep for them right now. They are 6.5k ahead, and now they're pushing the advantage. This is exactly what they need to be doing. If they stay ahead, it's going to be very difficult for Mouse to reach late game. And that's what they're trying to achieve right now. That control is really nice, but look at the control already. No one really followed up on it there, and if it was not there for the Crystallize. But in team fights, if they can get a team fight in the jungle, then they can split off 2 and 3 people from their group, and then they can pick them off 5 versus 3, and then pick the rest of the team off when the Crystallize and Pillar Fill have ended. That's their dream team fight, and that's what they got right there. They got a single pick right onto Aurelia. They didn't get 2 people, they got 1, but it's still good. It's still a pick. But if they can get to that point in the game where they can do that constantly, and in the jungle fights and near Baron and those objectives, then they're good to go. But at the moment, it's not too great for them because they're just weaker in the team fight straight up. So they just need to kind of stall for a bit, stop them from taking Baron. Because if they take Baron, it might be the push that they need to carry this one through. And actually, speaking of, Candy Panda might be picked at top.
Is more than likely going to get picked at top. In fact, will get picked at top, so quickly falling. And that's pretty much the worst case scenario for Mouse right now. For the next 30 seconds, they're going to have no AD carry at their disposal, and that could actually signify a Baron. The wards will be going down. This could be a massive error from Candy Panda, dying at the worst possible time in this game. Baron has been started. Can we see an epic steal once again from Dedrian? We saw it last game on Maokai. Twisted advancing in 1 versus 5 and stealing it. But will we see a repeat? Wall comes down from Anivia for vision, and the Howling Gale afterwards. It's going to do enough to push Curse back. So, nice play from Mouse, applying enough pressure. And I have to say as well that MoMA on Anivia is kind of a great anti-pushing champion because the Glacial Storm is going to eat up a lot of the CS, a lot of the creep wave that comes across, and it's also going to be quite difficult to push underneath those towers. Having said that though, playing Devil's Advocate, you've got a Malphite on the opposite team that can just kind of say, okay, well, you've got a Glacial Storm, I'll raise you an Unstoppable Force and smash you in the face, and then our entire team is just going to jump on top of you. Especially with an Ahri as well. Because of Ahri's maneuverability, as soon as Unstoppable Force goes in underneath the tower, she can afford to jump in and out over and over again. Anguish is very tanky. We're going to see something here. Potentially, the tower has gone down, so Maluno's not going to bother to waste his ultimate in that situation. Going to save it for a rainy day. And that day could be upcoming right here, right now. As all 5 Mouse players are underneath this tower, but they're going to be pulling themselves back and trying to continue to control the jungle. And I think actually Slapper's going to go down to bot lane and just get that massive amount of farm. That looks pretty damn tasty.
Yeah, that was both AD carries being ourselves. Yeah, when you see a farm like that, it's like drool, literally. It's really nice to see. So right now they'll be coming over to that Drake, and it looks like they're going to take this as well. There's no real way Mouse can contest this, and they probably won't either. Right now, I don't think Curse can dive one of those inhibitor turrets. They can probably dive one of the tier 2 turrets, and he might... The next team fight they try and force might either be at Baron or that top turret. They might try and siege it. I wouldn't be surprised if they do, because right now that's their best chance. But for Mouse, they have to try and stall, and as you said, Glacial Storm is really, really nice for doing so. However, if they get engaged upon in a really nasty position where the turret's not going to give them a safe haven, then they're going to get wiped. So they need to wait for them to make a mistake. If Curse make a mistake, then they can capitalize on it. Until then, they need to stall as quickly as possible, or as long as possible. And it's not looking good for them right now.
And you can see that, you know, Mouse at the moment are feeling a bit itchy. They're feeling a bit kind of uncertain because Candy Panda just popped his ultimate, his True Shot Barrage, just to check to see if Curse were on Baron. And in the meantime, Anguish is going to be split pushing towards that top lane. However, Prathana is there to see him away. But they are going to put some pressure onto Baron. Nothing is really going to come of this. And I can't help but feel that even though they do have a great anti-pushing champion like Anivia, when you have a Malphite and you have an Aurelia and also an Ahri, it doesn't really matter. They can just jump in. Candy Pan has been caught out of position. Look how quickly he gets burst. By the time that Charm had ran out, he was dead and buried. That is the second time in a row that Ezreal has been taken out of the equation and just picked off. And it's these kind of mistakes, Pulse, that can make such a big difference.
It really can. And now it's a 4 versus 5, and now they can probably dive it. Look at Corki just chunking off that tower. They really can't defend this, and this could be pretty brutal for them if they lose this and get an exposed inhib. And this actually might be inhib in the same push. This it's not looking good for Mouse.
Yeah. It should be
10k behind.
For sure. As soon as it was 4v5, it was an inhib pretty much, because when your AD carry is out of the fight and you don't have the kind of huge DPS output, there's not much you can do. Like, you know, Jax can jump in, sure, can do a fair bit of damage, can stun people. Trundle's not exactly the biggest damage dealing character in the game, so as soon as Ezreal went down in that situation, there was only one thing that was going to happen. They were going to lose an inhib. Curse was going to just push through the mid, take the inhib, no problems. So twice in a row, Ezreal has made a mistake, which has left his team quite a long distance behind. Now Dedrin's getting caught, actually. Should be going down. Oh no! Beautiful Monsoon coming in from Janna. Here comes the Jax. Look at that wall from Anivia. Absolutely perfect. It's getting so damaged though in the process. Doing a nice job for his team. Now starting to push back. Here comes Maluno just tanking all day long. Egg form has been popped. Ari from the backside. One of the great, huge strengths of Ari. Picks up a triple kill. Gonna get the quadra kill. Can he get the penta? Doesn't look likely, but even still, Ari's positioning there was completely on the mark. Waited for all the abilities to go down, waited for the rebirth to go down as well, and then just popped in and decimated everybody. And the GGs have been called.
Wow. It looked like she was out of position, but she has more mobility than Candy Panda, who is also out of it. And he got there, so did Candy Panda, so did Extinct, and just mopped up the mess, getting the quadra. Absolutely amazing play, and that will bring it to a 1-1, I believe, and it will be the third match we're getting here.
It will indeed, absolutely. I can't help but feel, though, that Mouse in that game, just from a culmination of small mistakes, getting caught. You had Ezreal getting caught twice, and Dedrian got caught, and kind of sucked the rest of his team that were forced to come and help him. For example, Janna had to come in and Monsoon away just to save his life. After that, Prothana felt pretty much like he had to go in and start something off. So at that point, you already had Dedrion, who was on like a quarter HP. Janna's already burst off her ultimates, took a lot of damage, and from there on in, you're against a team that's already quite well farmed and fed. There's no way you can win from that position. So it was just getting picked time and time again that ultimately lost Miles that game.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. Yeah, there's nothing really to add to that one.
Yeah, so we are going to be into game number 3. I do have an invite from Prothana, and I believe this is the deciding matchup. I am just going to make sure on Skype before